Have you ever noticed that life becomes heavier as you grow older? Not necessarily because your responsibilities increase, but because your mind quietly begins carrying more and more invisible weight. Someone doesn't smile at you, and you wonder if you've done something wrong. A colleague gets promoted before you, and suddenly your own success feels smaller. A stranger criticizes you online, and their words stay with you for days, sometimes weeks. We carry these moments like stones in a backpack until one day we wonder why life feels so exhausting. If you've ever spent an entire evening replaying a conversation in your mind, if you've ever worried about what other people think of you, if you've ever felt that life wasn't being fair, then you've already experienced one of the oldest traps of the human mind. You probably believe the world is making you suffer. But what if much of your suffering comes from believing that everything happening around you is somehow about you? By the end of this video, you'll understand 3 timeless ideas that have appeared in different forms across philosophy, psychology, and spiritual traditions for thousands of years. They sound almost too simple to matter. Yet if you truly understand them, not just intellectually, but emotionally, they can completely change how you move through life. They won't remove pain. They won't prevent loss. But they can make even difficult lives feel surprisingly light. There is one idea connecting all 3 principles. It is this: you are far less important than your ego wants you to believe. That sentence sounds harsh at first, almost insulting. But stay with me. Because hidden inside it is one of the most liberating truths you may ever discover. From childhood, the world teaches us to build an identity. We are given a name. We are told we are smart or average, shy or confident, talented or ordinary. We begin comparing ourselves with classmates. Later we compare salaries, houses, vacations, relationships, followers, achievements, even happiness itself. Without realizing it, life slowly becomes a project of protecting an image. My reputation, my success, my happiness, my future. Everything becomes my. The ego quietly moves to the center of the universe. Yet if you walk through a busy city today, millions of lives would unfold without knowing you existed. A baby would be born. Someone would fall in love. Someone would receive devastating news. Someone would laugh so hard they cried. The oceans would continue moving. The stars would continue burning. The earth would continue spinning at over 1,000 miles per hour without asking for your permission. That isn't meant to make you feel small. It is meant to set you free. Because if the universe doesn't revolve around you, then neither do most of your problems. The first truth is this: don't take everything personally. Notice how quickly the mind makes itself the main character. Someone doesn't reply to your message. They must be ignoring me. Your boss gives constructive feedback. They think I'm incompetent. A friend seems distracted over dinner. They don't enjoy spending time with me anymore. The mind is constantly filling in missing information, and almost always it places itself at the center of the explanation. Psychologists sometimes call this personalization. Our brains evolved to search for causes because predicting danger helped our ancestors survive. But in modern life, that same habit often creates emotional suffering where none was intended. Imagine a young mother rushing through a grocery store. She accidentally bumps into another shopper without apologizing. The shopper goes home irritated. People are becoming so rude. But what they don't know is that the woman's father was admitted to intensive care that morning. The same event, 2 completely different realities. How often do we mistake our interpretation for reality itself? Think about social media. Someone posts photos from an expensive vacation. Immediately, another person feels inadequate. Yet perhaps the person posting those photos spent the entire trip arguing with their spouse. We compare our private reality with someone else's public performance. Again, we make it about ourselves. The truth is that nearly everyone is fighting battles you cannot see. Everyone. The waiter serving your meal, the executive leading the meeting, the teenager scrolling endlessly on their phone. The elderly man quietly sitting on the park bench. Every person is living inside a world as rich and complicated as your own. Once you truly understand this, compassion begins replacing judgment. And strangely, life feels lighter. The second truth is gratitude. Not because gratitude magically solves problems, but because it corrects one of the greatest distortions of the human mind. The mind rarely focuses on what is present. It focuses on what is missing. Imagine buying your dream house. For months you wake up excited. You tell friends how lucky you feel. Then, slowly, something changes. You begin noticing the neighbor's larger backyard. The kitchen no longer feels modern enough. Now you want a bigger house, then a newer one, then one in a better neighborhood. Nothing outside changed. Only the mind moved the finish line. This pattern appears everywhere. We dream of graduating, then dream of getting married, then dream of buying a house, then dream of retirement, always chasing, always postponing contentment, always believing happiness is waiting one step ahead. The human brain evolved this way. If our ancestors became permanently satisfied, they might have stopped searching for food, building shelter, or preparing for winter. Restlessness helped our species survive. But today, it often prevents us from appreciating our lives. Gratitude interrupts this endless race, not by denying ambition, but by reminding ambition that it is not allowed to steal joy from the present. Imagine an elderly couple sitting quietly on a porch. They aren't discussing quarterly earnings. They aren't thinking about luxury cars. They're simply watching the sunset together. After 60 years of life, they understand something younger people often forget. The ordinary moments become the extraordinary memories. One day your child will stop asking you to play. One day your parent's voice will exist only in memory. One day your friends will gather for the last time without realizing it is the last time. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that today's ordinary moments are tomorrow's precious memories. The third truth is perhaps the most misunderstood. Choose a positive attitude, not because life is always positive, because your attitude becomes the lens through which life is experienced. Two brothers inherit the same difficult childhood. One spends decades blaming the world. The other spends decades trying to become the person he needed when he was young. The same beginning, different stories, different lives. Our circumstances matter. They matter enormously. But the meaning we assign to those circumstances also matters. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps, observed that while people cannot always choose what happens to them, they often retain the ability to choose their attitude toward what happens. His insight wasn't naive optimism. It was born from unimaginable suffering. It reminds us that even when external freedom is limited, our response still holds profound power. A positive attitude doesn't mean smiling all the time. It means refusing to let bitterness become your identity. It means believing that people are more than their worst mistakes. It means believing that tomorrow can be different. It means continuing to plant trees whose shade you may never sit beneath. Notice something remarkable. All three principles depend on seeing yourself differently. When you stop believing everything revolves around you, you stop taking everything personally. When you realize how unbelievably unlikely your existence is, gratitude appears naturally. When you recognize that every human being is struggling with uncertainty, kindness becomes easier. Optimism becomes more reasonable. Now imagine life as a theater. Some people believe there is a playwright, a creator who has written a story with meaning, even when the characters cannot see the entire plot. Others see the play differently. They see no playwright, but rather an unfolding universe governed by cause and effect, where every scene emerges from countless events stretching back billions of years. These worldviews are different, yet both invite humility. Neither places your ego at the center of existence, and perhaps that humility is what matters most. Think about your favorite movie. Would you enjoy watching 2 hours of a character who never struggled, never failed, never lost anything, Never changed? Probably not. Conflict creates growth. The hero rarely understands the purpose of the struggle while living through it. Only later does the story make sense. Perhaps our lives are similar, not because every hardship happens for a reason in some simple or predictable sense, but because hardship often becomes the place where wisdom, resilience, compassion, and character are formed. Maybe the goal of life isn't to avoid every difficult chapter. Maybe it's to play each chapter well. So the next time someone insults you, pause before asking, "Why did they do this to me?" Instead ask, "What might they be carrying that I cannot see?" The next time you complain about your ordinary day, pause and ask, "Would an older version of me give anything to live this day again?" And the next time life doesn't unfold according to your plans, ask yourself one final question. Am I trying to control the script, or simply play my role with wisdom? Perhaps that is the quiet secret shared by many of history's wisest people. They still worked hard. They still loved deeply. They still cried, failed, and grieved. But underneath it all was a remarkable lightness. Because they knew something the ego constantly forgets. You are not the center of the universe. You never needed to be. Your task is not to control every scene. Your task is to play your part with integrity, gratitude, courage, and kindness. And perhaps, when the final curtain falls, people won't remember how famous you became, how much money you earned, or how many arguments you won. They will remember something far simpler. How you made them feel. How you loved. How you carried yourself through life's uncertainty, and in the end, that may have been the role you were meant to play all along. Thank you for watching. Please comment, share, and subscribe for more videos.